Hey Pokemon Masters, Birdkeeper Toby here,
and HoodlumScrafty,
and welcome to our part 2 video about Pokemon Foreshadowing. This is a list of our top 10 favourite moments in Pokemon that are actually hints to future events of the franchise.
So if you want to see the first half of the list, make sure to click the link on screen, or alternatively go to the link in the description to check it out. Okay, all good?
Perfect, so let's begin. In the Pokemon universe, people, Pokemon, and places all have real-life equivalents. For example, the Kanto region, which is not so subtly based off of Japan's Kanto region. Similarly, Unova is based off the USA, and Kalos is based off of France. There is no way to guess what they'll come up with next. Or is there? The Generation 4 gym leader Fantina mentions that she's not from the region the games are based from and has many Frenchisms. In the way she speaks, the way she dresses, she says fantastically a lot, which might remind you of someone. It seems to me that Game Freak were maybe hinting that this could have been a potential future region. There's actually a really great video on this theory by Pokemon Insider, I'll leave a link in the description, and while yes, it could all be coincidental, it could very well have been Game Freak giving a cheeky wink of plans to come.
This isn't the only time things have been referenced generations in advance. Did you know that Luca was most likely created off a random NPC from Red and Blue version? This is just a theory, but it's a pretty damn good one at that. On the SSN, an NPC claims to be a global police agent, and what exactly is Luca? It's made clear many times, in all of the games he's appeared in, that he is an international police agent. And looking at the closest thing we have to an official timeline of when the Pokemon games happened, Red and Blue happens at the same time as Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. If you visit the battle resort in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, you come across a man who's washed up on the beach. That man, of course, is Luca. He has no idea who he is, and since Red and Blue and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are the earliest games in the Pokemon timeline, the events of you meeting Luca in the later games like Pokemon Platinum haven't happened yet. So how on earth did he end up on the beach? It's theorized that the SSN sunk and he gets amnesia from hitting his head on something, and ends up washed up on the battle resort. And that was just me trying to touch basis on this theory. For more details, there's a full video on BulbaTube's channel that you should go check out after this video, a link to which will be down below. It's honestly such a good theory, and it explains it in way more detail than what I explained it in, but if this is true, then they foreshadowed a future character just with a random NPC.
Speaking of theory videos, I'll be linking to another one in the description by my friend Obi, which suggests that even Mega Evolutions weren't safe from foreshadowing. At the Pokemon World Tournament in Black and White 2, the Pokemon researcher Corales appears and says this amazing line. The latent power of Pokemon, what's the best way to bring it out? If possible, I should like it to be the trust between a trainer and their Pokemon. The latent power of Pokemon, as in hidden or dormant. Or not yet released, more like it. What makes this piece of evidence even more compelling is that Corales mentions the trust, the bond between a trainer and their Pokemon, which as we all know is the only other thing you need other than a keystone to perform Mega Evolution. To be perfectly honest, this seems barely like a theory to me. It almost seems like a confirmed, we've got something in the works. You'll see.
Stuff like this happens in the anime too. Many things that appear in the first season that were not officially confirmed until Generation 2 was announced. Ho and Togepi both make appearances foreshadowing a second series of games, but did you know that there were even moves being hinted at? In the first Pokemon movie, Mewtwo uses telekinetic powers, but the move telekinesis wasn't in the games, Red, Blue, and Yellow. Even more heavily featured was Shadow Ball as Mewtwo's signature move, and once again, it doesn't even exist at that point. Both of these moves would later appear in Mewtwo's roster, with Shadow Ball in Generation 2 and Telekinesis being learnable in Generation 5.
And here we are, number 10 on the list, and this one is a bit different, because we're not talking about foreshadowing that's already happened, but foreshadowing of things to come. Thanks to leaks, we already know that future Pokemon stuff is coming, but there are two massive hints dropped right under our noses within the latest series of Pokemon games. For example, I'm sure you've heard by now about in Pokemon X and Y you can obtain the strange souvenir from a tourist who is really hard to locate. It's such an obscure item to find and get your hands on that it must be important, especially because the guy who gives it to you says that he didn't get it from Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, or Kalos, but some other region. And not only does it confirm another region, when you look at the item in your bag, it tells you that it looks like the protecting Pokemon of that region, so new Pokemon confirmed.
Furthermore, in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, behind Professor Birch is a computer that reads, on the monitor is an image of an ever before seen Pokemon. What? What is it? Why won't Game Freak show us? Does it look like this? Come on, Game Freak, come on.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video or feel like you learned something new, be sure to leave a like. I want to say a massive thank you to Callum for joining me on this one. Thank you so much. I know most of you are probably coming over here from his channel, so welcome. And if weekly Pokemon science and theory sounds like your thing, stick around and hit subscribe. I really appreciate the support. You can find all of our social medias in the description below. So until next time, I'm gonna fly away now.
And I'll fly on back to my channel.
Soar high.